Hey everyone, happy Sunday. Making sure everything is ready. Okay, I think I'm officially live. Thank you for anyone who's tuning in to watch this, both now and even later. And if you are, please let me know who you are down in the comment section. I'm always happy to meet any of you and grateful for your support, grateful for your viewing of my channel. So, first of all, my name is Eva. I'm an intuitive healer. I do work with two modalities. One which is based on working with Akashic Records, and it's called Soul Element. And the second is called Quantum Flow, and it's all about rewiring your nervous system. But I'm going to be explaining more of that at the end of this video. So, if you're curious to know how you can actually 10x your healing journey, your personal development, and all of that, make sure you tune in until the end of this video. Okay. So, as always, I like beginning by sharing what I have learned this week. This week was basically the major thing that I realized for myself was the fact that with everything that's happening, especially in Kenya right now, I found myself getting pulled back into old habits, for such a long time. I actually haven't watched or have been trying to abstain as much as possible from watching the news because what I notice is that a lot of the news that are usually reported are normally negative news, right? Like rarely do you see positive news on the media and all of that. And it used to make me so angry and so mad and so, just feeling discouraged. And I didn't want to be in that vibration. So I do my best to stay away from that. But right now, with the massive awakening that's happening in Kenya, I'm finding myself glued because I want to know happening and just, you know, all of that, just getting sucked into everything that's been happening, which I found myself now, of course, seeing the unfairness sometimes, just finding yourself getting angry and disappointed and discouraged and all of that. So I literally had to this week just reflect on that and not and pull myself back from old habits of getting stuck in. My policy is this: if of course, any kind of thing that you meet in the outside world that triggers you in any way, it's always a sense or a sign that there's something inside of you that you still need to work on, something inside of you that you still need to release. So just getting sucked into that and just finding myself getting swept up in that. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna take a step back as much as possible because I still wanna see and witness and just still stay informed with everything, but also getting into a space where you kind of like stay neutral and not unaffected, but not allowing yourself to get sucked into especially the negative vibrations, because a lot of that is going on right now, which is, of course, justifiable with everything that's happened in the last couple of weeks. But I think it's very important for especially the people who are aware, the people who are awakened. You know that everything you focus on, what you put your energy, your attention to, you create more of that. So I don't want to see whatever is happening in the country, with the chaos and all of that. I want the love, the unity, the compassion, and all of that. So ensuring that regardless of where you're watching me from, because I know it's happening all over the world right now, if you find yourself getting triggered and you don't have that internal mastery yet, then maybe take a step back and work on whatever you need to release, really get down to the root cause of that. And once you release that and you know now that you're able to be in that space or with a certain group of people and all of that and still remain unaffected by it, not get triggered, then that means you release whatever was inside you that was getting triggered, but also you're helping to cultivate that vibration of I want to say, I'll just say positive, that positive vibration more and more, where you're not getting sucked in. So, my thing is that a lot of the awakened souls really need to hold the vibration up for love, for peace, for unity, so that we're not constantly feeding the negative vibrations that none of us wants to see happening in the world. So, that was my takeaway for this week. Okay. And today I want to talk about the mark of a great teacher. Um, the reason why I want to talk about this is that when you see how the world is right now and how we, uh, like the culture all over is that we tend to glorify. Okay, I'm not going to talk about all of the world because I know it's not everywhere that this is happening. okay, where we tend to put certain people on pedestals and make them, the beat and it all of everything. And I want to say like kind of like a worship kind of thing, where anything they say, anything they do, like a lot of people just follow blindly, not really even pausing to think of why am I actually doing this? Just the very fact that the person said whatever they said, I'm just gonna follow along and all of that. Like even I will say in the celebrity culture where you have people with massive followings and then really getting involved with what is going on in their lives and all of that and getting angry when this celebrity happens to be human and make a mistake and all of that and feeling so betrayed. Essentially, it's kind of like giving out your sovereignty to another person because in the world we live in, my advice will be don't ever allow yourself or someone else to have that kind of hold or power over you. Remember, we're each here to live our individual experiences. So essentially, what happens with one person's life should not affect you unless maybe you're in the same environment. But if you're in one country and the celebrities living their life in another country, why on earth will you be concerned if anything happened to them? Again, human wise, compassion wise, of course, have the compassion, but not to the sense that it affects how you operate in life. Because to me, that really does not track if at all you want to be an empowered, awakened individual. Okay. So today I want to talk about the marks of a great teacher. Okay. If you've been on this journey, I'd love to actually know from you like who are the teachers who have actually inspired you and why have they inspired you? What about them got you to actually heal, got you to actually release whatever had kept you stuck in the old version of you? I'd love to know your answer to this. Again, for me, I have like so many. I always ask myself, I've always reflected on if I was to be asked the question, who has been my best teacher? I can't even tell you. I can't even point to one because each one of them was a necessary part in an aspect of my healing journey. So I can't even say that I credit everything with this one person or I credit everything with this one person because each of them in their own way has taught me to go deeper and deeper and awaken more of who I am. But we also live in a world where a lot of people take advantage of that, where they come with their charisma, with their magnetism, and all of that, and pulling people in. But essentially, it's just pulling people in order to manipulate them, pulling people in not to really empower them, but to just make them dependent on them, which is, I would say, what we see with a lot of the leaders that we have currently in the world, right? That it's always about me, and not really wanting to empower you, just keeping you dependent on them so that you never wake up and realize, like, oh, you mean I can actually do this on my own? I don't need you to tell me what to do. I don't need you to show me how to do it. And this is why I think a lot of discernment needs to be exercised when you're looking for whoever is going to be your teacher or your healer on this journey. Because not everyone who claims to be doing that is actually in it for the best of reasons. Okay. I've you find that in these spaces that there's so many people because here's the thing, each of us is gifted in our own way, right? So you'll find that someone actually has that gift of gab, right? Those kind of people who just talk into like I just want to sit down and listen to them because maybe they're really skilled at storytelling and all of that. And then the assumption that's made is that just because they're a good marketer, maybe because they're such a good speaker, then they have something of value to sell or something of value to give, which, yes, can be applied to certain people, but not everyone. And that's how you find people getting duped into investing in certain programs, investing in certain teachers, and all of that, and then ending up 5 years, 6 years, 10 years down the line, and you literally have nothing to show for it because essentially that person was not in it for the best reason, was not in it to actually serve humanity. It was just to serve themselves. So I think a lot of discernment needs to be exercised when you're looking at the teachers on our journey, the kind of healers that we're going to be um, imploring to help us awaken into more of who we are. Okay. So I came up with a couple of things, right? And the reason why I was actually thinking about this topic is I'm looking at some of the greatest masters, and the person that came to mind was Jesus, right? I mean, he's impacted billions of lives since the time he came to this planet, right? Through his teachings, through his works that still inspire so many of us right now. To have that kind of mastery, right? Especially in this day and age, to have someone embodying those kind of qualities, to be a healer, to be a miracle. I'm trying to find the word for it, but I can't think of any. But basically, to be able to perform miracles, to be a great speaker, to have actually that gift to speak and inspire positive transformation in people. I mean, that's huge. Think about all the great leaders we have right now and the kind of following they actually have just based on that. If Jesus was here right now, I would say that based on the kind of influence he's had on so many people's lives, he'd be a megastar, right? But in that time, so assuming he had the same kind of influence back then, but still, this man was still able to stay humble. There's never a point where he spoke about being above any other person. If anything, he actually demonstrated what true humbleness, what true humility was. Okay, when he was washing the feet of his disciples, not something that any kind of leader that we know right now would actually do easily. Okay, think about one of the greatest teachers right now. Just have them in your mind, and then picture that person coming to you and actually washing your feet. Most people can't even picture that. I can, because I've never actually seen that demonstrated to me. Maybe it's happened with other people, I don't know, but the ones I know of, I can't imagine them doing that. So to have someone to have that level of mastery and still able to humble themselves enough to say that I'm just the same as you, that the same divinity that is in me is also in you. There's never a point that, and I need to refresh my studies on this, but the other thing that's coming to mind is that even when he was doing his final journey to Jerusalem, right? And he was on a donkey, take that to this current life. Like picture the biggest CEO in any country and just coming riding a bicycle. Maybe there are some who do it, okay? And please let me know if you know of any people who actually exemplified or demonstrate that kind of humbleness. I know they're there. It's only that right now I can't recall any. I know they're there. But even with the crop of a lot of the leaders that we see right now, that kind of humbleness, it's very rare to find with a lot of them. Okay. And yet, these are the people who actually are able to pull in those big kind of crowds. I mean, it's crazy, right? But, anyways, I want to talk about the mark of a great teacher. And the reason why I mentioned Jesus was because his humbleness is one of the marks of a great teacher. If you meet someone who has this overinflated sense of ego of where it's all about me and look at me and look at everything I've created, look at my cars, look at my houses and all of that. And we see a lot of them right now because of course if we live in a material world and material world is celebrated. But if that is all they are about, again, I'm not bashing on anyone who's wealthy. I'm not bashing on wealth. I'm not bashing on money. I'm just saying that there are certain leaders or certain teachers who just focus more on that opulence or showing their opulence and showing just how great they are and not forgetting that, first of all, they were where you were not so long ago. And even if it was long ago, still within this lifetime, there was a point where they didn't have everything that they have right now. But what they want you to focus on is look at me, celebrate me for all the power that I have and all of that. When you notice someone having those kind of qualities and not really, first of all, focusing more on empowering you so that you can also rise to be greater than them or even just like them, That to me is a red flag on the kind of teachers you're listening to, right? Because no true healer, no true person who actually understands what spirituality is, who has that connection with your higher self, no person who actually speaks that language would actually make you feel bad because of where you currently are. Remember, Jesus viewed everyone as equal, whether you are what is it called? A thief, whether you were a prostitute, right? Like everyone to him was equal, never treated anyone above the other, right? So any person who comes to you and just wants you to focus on just, I'm above you and look at me with all my things and all of that, that to me is red flag number one. Number two, it's the person who does not want to empower you. Okay. So a lot of these people, it's because they have that for someone to exemplify and just want you to focus on all these things that they have. It's usually because of a deep insecurity inside of them. And how this is also shown is that even when I'm trying to be a teacher, even when I'm trying to be a healer, I don't want to do it in a way that actually empowers you to do it on yourself. So I want you, and I want you to I want you to be in a space where you're constantly coming back to me, and kind of like placing myself or wanting to place myself up on a pedestal so that you don't even have that sense of belief and trust in yourself, like you're doing the right thing. You constantly have to keep on referring to them. Ooh, how do I do this? How do I do that? Again, nothing wrong with being self-conscious. I've been through that, right? Like sometimes you do need that kind of guidance. But someone who's constantly putting you in that state, not even allowing you that space to figure it out on your own, that everything that you ever do, everything you ever decide to do with yourself and with your life and all of that, you always have to keep on referring to them, right? That they don't actually empower you so that now going forward, you no longer need them, but you're doing it on yourself. There are people who've been stuck on their healing journey for years, for decades, and all of that, because whatever they are being given as a solution is not a solution. It's something to actually still keep them in a victim kind of state. So, any kind of person who sticks to disempower you rather than empower you, that to me is a red flag of the kind of teacher you should actually avoid. Okay. The other thing is that anyone who seeks to mold you into themselves, a version of themselves, right? You've met this kind of teachers who it's their way and no other way. So no space for you to be creative, no space for you to try and do things differently or even bring about your ideas and all of that. It's this way and no other way. So trying to mold you into an aspect of themselves. So not allowing your own individuality to shine. So here's the thing. Again, each of us is individually uniquely different, right? Each of us has our own gifts. And even if we're gifted in the same way, how I choose to show up with my gift is probably not the same way you're going to show up with your gifts, right? We're not going to use them the same way because we're living different lives. We have different belief system, we have different perspectives of looking at the world. So you never find that just because maybe I'm gifted in the sense of communication, the way I communicate is not going to match someone else. So a teacher who seeks to take away your uniqueness, seeks to take away your individuality, does not allow your gift to shine through, because essentially for me, it's a teacher will give you the knowledge and then allow you to figure out your way of how you're going to apply that in your life. Because it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be flat out like this is how we're going to go about it and that you have to follow this on. No, because each of us is different. So, how I might embody that and demonstrate the teachings will probably look different from the way you're going to do it. But if the teacher is like, no, 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 we're not going to allow that to happen and really stifling your voice, really stifling your uniqueness, that to me is a sign of a red flag that you need to watch out for. The other thing I also find with teachers that there are certain teachers who, again, because of their insecurity, and now, again, how that will be shown is that, or how that will be demonstrated is that they will not give you all the information to empower you, right? But the reason for them doing that is that so that there never comes a point in time where you actually surpass them. So anyone who is appearing to feed you information but not really allowing you to rise up to the occasion, so that at some point you actually surpass them, red flag of a teacher that you really need to avoid. Because I've watched I've heard of stories in organizations where you find that the certain bosses, again, they are the ones in charge, but they're so insecure to the point that even the people who are junior to them, people who actually report to them, if they notice one of them kind of like showing a huge promise of really performing so well because of their own insecurity, they're going to do everything in their power to ensure that that person never gets empowered to the level that they actually come up and probably take over their job. So what will they do? They'll make sure that they frustrate this person. They'll make sure they make this person's lives miserable for no other reason than I see your gifts and I'm so scared that if I allow you or if I allow you to nurture this gift, then at some point you're going to come up and take my job. I'm sure you've run across people like that, right? People who genuinely don't want to see you perform because if you perform, then that means what happens to them. And it's kind of like a scarcity kind of mindset that they have. Okay. So you will see this in some of the teachers and healers where I'm not going to give you all the information because I don't want you to get empowered. And then now tomorrow you won't come back to me. Tomorrow you won't come back and pay me, right? And I need your money. So I'm just going to be giving you just a little bit. I'm keeping the most of the good information to myself because I don't want to give it to you just in case tomorrow you won't need me. I won't have your money. Or just in case tomorrow now you're going to be the teacher everyone is going to be looking up to. So anyone who exemplary or shows you that kind of behavior, someone to really look out for. Okay? Anyone who seeks again to make themselves I want to say, I'm trying to find the word for it, but anyone who, I'm trying to find the words for it, so just allow me. This is the problem with being live, right? But someone whose only concern in life is, how can I only benefit myself and no one else, right? So this will look like what? That I only take care of myself, my needs, and the needs of the people around me. And I really, yes, I might appear to be helping you, but I'm really not actually helping you. In the sense that, have you ever met someone who's so, I want to say, arrogant? That, for example, you're the one who's actually paying them to teach you, paying them to heal, but they don't really have time for you. So, in a sense that I only have time for my inner circle. The people I'm actually getting the most benefit from. Probably like the people who are what is it called? The people who I know I can get most from money wise or kind of like compensation from. So I'm gonna make sure that again, these are the ones I treat as I want to say the golden child. And the rest of you, even if I'm serving you, I'm not really giving you the same kind of service because why on earth will I waste time with you? Right? You are just someone who can only pay me 5 shillings or $5 or something. And this other person can pay me $10,000. So why on earth will I give you the same kind of information that, you know, I'm giving to the 10,000 person? Now, this in no way seeks to bash anyone who has, because we do have teachers who sell different programs at different level, and wherever level you're at is probably what you can afford, right? So there are people, of course, if they're having masterminds and all of that, and it's bringing the who's who, they're going to charge crazy amounts of money, right? Because they're providing a lot of value, they're giving a lot of their money, a lot of their time to that cause, and they're ensuring that there's that intimacy with that certain group of people. I'm in no way bashing that. What I'm saying is that if you notice that this person has a disregard to you just because probably you pay less than these other people, so that means that the kind of attention, the kind of information, the kind of, or anything, or even how they treat someone who might not be able to afford them, as you will notice a difference. That to me is a red flag. Because essentially, anyone who seeks to put, yes, I do know we are all different, right? Not everyone can afford the same kind of services. Not everyone can 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 be, at the same economic kind of state, right? We're different, right? People who have a lot of money in the bank, the people who don't have a lot of money in the bank. But if you find someone actually demonstrating that discrepancy and really giving all of the attention to the high paying value or high value clients, and then to these other people, yeah, you're being nice, but you will notice like something. I know you know what I'm talking about right now, because I will say, like, even in organization, like for example, you walk into a certain um restaurant, and of course, like, you find the high rollers are usually reserved for the biggest tables and all of that, and treated like, you know, they're the kings and queens of that place because you're spending so much money. And then the people who are probably not able to afford that much, maybe sometimes not able to get that kind of service. And I get it. Maybe those ones actually do pay that money to get that kind of service, but a great teacher is not someone who would actually show you that or demonstrate that to you. Because in a great teacher's eyes, the same divinity that is in that person is the same divinity that is in this other person, and is the same divinity in them. They don't actually differentiate just because of material things, right? That to me, if you ever notice someone who's actually demonstrating that and really showing that you're nothing just because maybe you can afford the services and all of that, that is a huge red flag to look out for. It doesn't matter the kind of money you have in your account, the very fact that you're human and you're in this space claiming to be a spiritual teacher, claiming to be a healer, then you should be aware that the physical world is an illusion, and what actually matters is taking care of your spirit, taking care of your soul, afterlife, right? Because remember that, yes, someone could show or demonstrate the fact that they have a lot of material wealth, but guess what? You don't get to carry that in the afterlife. You have to leave all of that here. So anyone who actually focuses more on that than on who you actually are, recognizing you in having the same divinity as them, that to me is a huge red flag. Okay. So I've spoken about some of my red flags, and I'd love to know what kind of red flags do you look out for whenever you are looking for a teacher? Kind of conversations they're having, the kind of knowledge they're sharing with you. I'd love to know your thoughts on that, and let's add on to this list so that we can educate each other. Okay. So I was talking about red flags. How about the green flags? Okay. So for me, it's the humbleness. For me, it's any person who's still able to treat you not less just because maybe you're not as aware as them. That to me is a mark of a great teacher. Someone who actually respects you just for being yourself. Same thing that was shown by Jesus. I was actually reading in Autobiography of a Yogi. Okay, I'm actually almost done with the book, where Lahiri Mahasya, who was now the student of Babaji, okay, there was a time that Lahiri had gone to some festival, some religious festival that used to happen, in India at that time. And he was looking down at a certain monks or whatever, renunciates, that's how he calls them in the book, that were pretending to, borrow. They were pretending to have renunciated, like they're so, that picture. I want you to have a picture of what it means to be a monk, right? So giving up all material wealth, not having anything. So he was actually judging one of them because to him, according to Lahiri Mahase, this person was just pretending to have renunciated all their material things, but they hadn't actually done that on the inside. So Lahiri was actually judging this person on the inside. But then Babaji shows up to Lahiri, and actually this person that Lahiri was judging, Babaji actually gets down on his feet and actually starts washing this person's utensils and really cleaning up after this person. Which again, if you know who Baba Ji is, and I'm not going to explain in this video, please go research who Mahavata Baba Ji is. I actually just discovered him just the other day, but you will say he's one of the greats of this world that have ever existed. Okay. So for him to actually be humble enough to be doing that and washing this person's feet and washing this person's utensils and all of that, you will not expect a great master like that to be doing something like that. But because they know again that the divinity that is in them is also in this other person, regardless of whatever walk of life they're from, right? They could be rich, they could be poor, they could be man, they could be woman. It doesn't matter. They treat everyone the same. That to me is a mark of a great teacher. Okay. Anyone who also exemplifies this beautiful balance of knowing just how much information or knowledge to give to you. So not always being in that state like I'm the answer to everything, like you have to listen to me. And if you don't obey me, then something's wrong with you and all of that. So someone who actually has a beautiful balance in knowing just how much information to give you and then letting you go out and figure it out on your own. Because again, remember, we're all different. So we might receive the same knowledge at the same time in the same way, but how I choose to utilize that knowledge or integrate that knowledge is going to be so different from how this other person does that. And if the teacher now comes and says like, no, no, you follow my way or no other way and does not give you room to do that, again, that's a red flag, right? But a teacher who actually recognizes your individuality and gives you that space to go also on your hero's journey, that's to me actually exemplifies like that's true wisdom for me. And not a lot of people actually have that kind of balance within themselves. Of course, there's some people who always have this need of, they want to know everything, that any question you ask to them, they have the answers and all of that. So a great teacher will actually be able to tell that, you know what, this is something you can figure it out on your own. So go and figure it out on your own, and then you come and tell me the answer. So a great teacher is not someone who portrays themselves to always have all the answers. It's okay to admit to have mistakes. As long as you're in this physical reality, it's okay to be human. So any teacher who exemplifies that kind of humbleness of like, I don't know everything, and that's okay. And it's okay to make mistakes and even being comfortable admitting to their mistakes, that to me is someone you can actually listen to because it portrays that, hey, I'm not putting myself on a pedestal. I'm still reminding you that I'm still a teacher. I still make mistakes. Okay. I'm in no way perfect. I might be a little bit ahead of you, but it doesn't mean that I'm, you know, higher than you or better than you. It only means that I got on all your stuff than you. So I know where you're going to encounter in your journey, and that's the information I'm giving back to you. Okay. So any teacher who, again, exemplifies that, that is to me a sign of a great teacher. Okay. Someone who's very secure also in that, yes, I'm going to give you the information, but, and I also know that there's a possibility that once you utilize that information, you could end up being way better than me. Someone who's actually comfortable in their own skin and in themselves, that they don't feel threatened by the fact that their students actually end up becoming a bigger, I want to say, master than them. Okay. So any teacher who can actually be that kind of secure, so secure in the sense that not feeling threatened with the fact that you're actually rising to the occasion and surpassing them, even at the level they're at. That to me is a great teacher because they recognize that, again, we're all different, right? And they're humble enough to know that if you're taking and running the information, then that's God's grace and that's completely okay. So that in no way threatens their existence. That in no way threatens their ability to show up and continue teaching. It's just that you are, yes, a greater master than them now based on the information that they gave you, but you're also here to teach some other people. So it's not like a competition or a comparison of like, oh, now if I give them the information that they're going to come and steal all of my students and all of that. No, a great teacher will actually be able to know that the universe is abundant, the world is abundant. There's more than enough for all of us. So they will not be in competition or trying to be in comparison or whatever with their students. They will give you the knowledge that they have because of the great service and the great love of service that they have. So in no way are they holding something back and hoping that, oh, now if I hold this back, at least this person is not going to surpass me, right? So for me, a great teacher is someone who's actually comfortable in their own skin and not feeling threatened, even when the student ends up becoming their master. Okay. The other thing I would say is that I want to share certain examples of certain people that I've come to admire so much. Okay. And one of them is actually my teacher for quantum flow. So his name is Juanpa Barahona. You can just go Google him and all of that. But the thing I like about him is that it's the fact that so quantum flow is a process to help you rewire the system, rewire your nervous system, right? And he gives you the structure. There is a structure to follow, of course, because you don't want to have a student and then end up messing them up because you've not followed the process as it goes. There's a reason why the different stages in an activation are organized in that way. But the thing he tells you is that I'll give you the structure, but by all means, tap into your intuition and listen to what your body or your spirit is telling you to do. Because sometimes, if I have a student in front of me, yes, I have the basic structure and all of that, and I know this is supposed to go here and this is supposed to go here, and we're going to take this amount of time here and here and here. Everyone is different. So you might come to me with a certain problem that requires me to go deeper on one particular stage more than the other. But if I'm so attached to, oh no, this is how I was taught and all of that, and not really tapping into my intuition, guess what? I'm gonna end up messing the client right now, right? So what I like about my teacher is that yes, give me the structure, okay, which we've all been given if you've ever met her. Okay, if you ever get to practice quantum flow process, right? We've all been given the structure, but how we're interpreting or how we're even teaching the students, that's completely different to all of us because each student's different. So if I sit here and just blankly say like this is what I'm gonna do and all, it's not gonna work, or it will only work for a couple of you who actually align with that. So you literally have to use your intuition each and every time you have a student in front of you. Okay. So why I'm sharing this is that that is basically what a teacher is supposed to do. It's just give you the structure and then give you the freedom to figure it out on your own on how you're gonna go about that, right? How you're gonna go about your healing. So yes, I can give you the structure, this and this and this is what you're supposed to do. But remember how you choose to embody that, that's very specific to you. Okay. And a great teacher will allow you to really tap into your higher self, your intuition, and allow your own soul to be your governor. So a teacher is not someone who will say that, yes, it is only me and only me who has all the answers. It's someone who's going to help you go deeper within yourself and really reconnect with yourself. Okay. So not constantly depending on them, but allowing you or showing you how you can now start trusting yourself, trusting your own journey, trusting your own soul purpose and why you're even here in the first place. Because the teacher won't be able to tell you that. That's something you have to figure it out on your own. Because each of our higher selves, each of our souls came here with its own plan of what lessons we came here to learn. Yes, so I can use that teacher's knowledge because maybe there's some certain knowledge that they have that I can incorporate to my own journey, but we're not walking the same path. Okay. So a great teacher will allow you to still connect with your higher self and find your own way, find your own, what is it called? Or go on your own hero's journey to get to the destination. So not really dictating that this and this and this is what you're supposed to do. That to me, if you find a teacher who can actually do that, by all means, follow them or not follow them blindly where you're not questioning yourself on why you're doing certain things. here's a disclaimer I normally give people is that even if you really admire someone so much, don't attach yourself to the point that you don't even allow yourself to question why you're doing certain things. Because following someone blindly, there's also a danger in that, right? And this is what I'm really emphasizing on. It's someone who's going to help you really reconnect with your soul because what works for me might not work for you. But if I'm constantly just following along and just being like, oh, I'm just doing this because my teacher said I'm supposed to do it, and not listening to my higher self when it says, no, 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 this will not work for us, guess what? I'm betraying myself. Okay. So, really, 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 anyone who can actually just help awaken more of who you are, help you really, really empower you, help you tap into your own sense of power. Okay. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with consulting. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with a bit of self-doubt. We get self-conscious at some time. In those cases, maybe you do need a teacher to just, okay, you're doing it the right way or you're doing it this way, maybe try this and all of that. Then that the teacher can help in that way, but not being the deed and it all of everything. Okay. So I hope that helped. Let me know down below what your thoughts on this are. And please also share with me some of the green flags you look for when you're looking for a teacher or a healer on this journey, okay? Because I love to learn from you and I love to get, more tips so that we can share with each other and grow with each other and just be really aware of who we're actually investing in, time-wise, energy-wise, money-wise, and all of that. So that we're not ended up being manipulated and being taken even further into our pain and into our trauma instead of actually healing and releasing what has been keeping us stuck. Okay. So let me know your thoughts down below. If you like the video, do share the content, right? Because I love to have that kind of support. If you're new to my channel, maybe you haven't yet subscribed, please do subscribe. I do appreciate the support. And also click on the notification bell so that you might be getting alerts for each and every time I share out a post or even I go live. I always go live every Sunday at this time unless that changes in the future. We don't know. Okay. So I did promise I was going to share what soul alignment is and what quantum flow is. Okay, so soul alignment is based on working with Akashic records. Why I love it so much is that it actually helps you connect with the real you. Who are you really? Beyond the physical things that we see, beyond your color, beyond your race, beyond your gender, beyond all of that, right? Who are you really? So it's helping you connect with your soul. Who are you really at a soul level? What are your soul level gifts? A lot of us have actually lost our authenticity, our connection to self because we've allowed ourselves to get distracted by all these things that are happening in the world, constantly competing, constantly comparing ourselves to other people, forgetting that, again, we are all uniquely designed. And what I'm gifted in, probably some other person might not be able to do what I can do, but they can do something that I might not be able to tap into. So really connecting with who you are at a soul level, helping you identify your soul level gifts. And then once we do that, okay, going forward, right? How you show up in the world. It's no longer looking at, oh, this method or this idea worked for that person. Let me try that. It's really being I want to say trusting who you are, trusting your path, trusting who you were designed to be, and not allowing yourself to get distracted by everything that's happening around you, but really having that conviction that no, 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 that won't work for me because I wasn't designed to do that. Really trusting who you are and trusting your soul level gifts because your soul level gifts are how you're supposed or what you're supposed to leverage to create a better human experience for yourself. And once you actually go against who you are at soul level, guess what that does? Because there are always repercussions for that. You create a lot of dysfunction in your life, which is always demonstrated in your relationship, in your finances, in your health, and all of that. Okay. The other part about soul alignment is that you get to connect to or get to tap into a particular past life where your soul started making negative choices, started going against who it was, which is actually creating a lot of dysfunction in your life right now. So, what this does is that it helps you identify the choices that you made in your past life that you're probably still repeating right now. Okay. So, once you identify that, then going forward, okay, based on the awareness that you will get in the session, If you're still making the same choices currently, and a lot of people usually are, then now with the awareness, you get to make different choices so that you're aligned to more and more of who you are. And the best thing about soul alignment is that you get to clear all this negative karma that you picked up in your blueprint based on all those past life choices that you made that went against who you are. Okay, so you get to heal energetically so that going forward, all those people, all those circumstances that you've been attracting because they were a vibrational match to who you are at a soul level, in your blueprint. Since you've cleared out that negative karma, then meaning going forward, you no longer need to attract the same people, the same circumstances, and all of that that have been keeping you stuck in this current lifetime. So if you're curious about that, maybe you want to know more, you can connect with me on Facebook or Instagram, ask any question you have of me, maybe direct message me, or you can go ahead and book a free discovery call with me, and then we'll actually get to determine whether this is a good fit for you or not. Or if you just feel like, yes, this is what I need to heal and release, you can go ahead and book a soul element session with me. Okay. The second modality I talked about was quantum flow, which is all about rewiring your nervous system. So a lot of people are not aware that all the trauma they've experienced in their past life, the emotional wounds, the negative mental thoughts, and all of that they've had all the way from childhood are usually stored within your body, in your nervous system. So most people start focusing on when they're doing their healing journey, just focus on rewiring their mind, forgetting to incorporate the body also into their healing process, meaning that their healing process usually takes a much longer period of time than if they actually incorporated the body into this current, healing journey. And what you find with quantum flow is that because it actually incorporates or helps you to release all the things that have been keeping you stuck on a physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, energetic level, rewiring all these areas of your life to really awaken to more of who you are, helping you release all those old stories, all those old patterns that you constantly been reacting from, constantly been operating from, right? So really breaking down those patterns so that now going forward, again, because what quantum flow is that it releases the stuckness. Remember, if you have the stuck trauma within your nervous system, it means that even the energy that's supposed to be flowing within your system, it's not flowing the way it's supposed to flow. If you ever found yourself overreacting to a very small slight from another person, chances are you're actually touching or that particular event, regardless of how small it is, it's actually touching on a old core wound within you that you probably had and have been operating with since childhood. So what quantum flow does is, first of all, it's going to break down those patterns. Every time you do a quantum flow practice, you're breaking down something that you've been storing within you for such a long time. And eventually, you wake up a couple of months later, you're no longer the same person physically, mentally, emotionally, and all of that. So if this sounds good and you're like, yes, let me have a quantum flow session, you can go ahead and book a session with me down below. I always recommend that you book more than one session because quantum flow is a lifestyle. It's not a one session fix it all, right? It's something you have to constantly do. The same way you go to take a bath and all of that, remember that you've taken a long time to create those negative patterns within you, and it's going to take an equal or even stronger force to break down those patterns. So that cannot happen in just one day. It's something you have to embody and strive and commit to doing on a daily basis. Not necessarily, probably not on a daily basis, but as regularly as possible to help you release all those patterns. Okay, so if this sounds good, and you're just like, yes, I'm ready to release this and I'm ready to accelerate my healing journey, you can go ahead and book a session with me. Or if you have more questions, again, connect with me on Facebook or Instagram or book a discovery call, and then we'll determine if this is actually a good fit for you. Okay. So thank you so much for tuning in. Again, remember to subscribe and also click on the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any time I go live.